Hi everyone, Florida Fisherman here, and today we're going to do a little sand casting. And what I've got in the bucket is some finely sifted sand using a extra fine strainer like that. Make sure you get all the big particles out, and then there's 12% bentonite clay mixed in, so it's basically 12% bentonite and the rest sand. And you need water to go ahead and bind everything together. And my sand's a little bit dried out. It's been sitting around for, I don't know, a couple of weeks since I did some sand casting. And as you can see, it's dried out. So we're going to go ahead and rejuvenate it and get on to some sand casting. The easiest way I found, at least for my purposes anyway, to mix up green sand is basically what you see right here. I throw an egg beater on a drill, then just add water. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just mist it down and stir it up. Well, we're pretty much there, and kind of what I look for when using this egg beater is I'm going to go ahead and make a circular pattern, and whatever's in the center should basically form a dome. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. And generally I find out whenever it gets to this point here and it holds its shape, we're pretty much good to go. Because you want to be able to squeeze the sand together in your hand, and I'll go ahead and show you, and have it stick together and be able to break it apart cleanly, and that's really the right amount of water. So get you a nice handful. Squeeze it nice and tight like you're ramming it down in the flask, and it holds the shape of my fist, and it breaks apart real clean, and that's what you're looking for. And it really not sticking to your hand at all. So time to ram up the flask and get to some sand casting. Okay, what we're going to be casting today, or at least attempting to, is this little plaque I received many moons ago, back in, I'm not sure if it was high school or middle school, but used to be a gymnast. And it looked like some nice detail on this thing, so I'm going to see if the sand casting will actually pick that up, and hopefully the camera's giving you a good indication of the detail on that thing. Lost the nameplate long ago, and there was some glue, so I went ahead and removed that with some mineral spirits. So we'll try and remake this thing out of aluminum. Let me remove that section. We'll flip this guy over. Position our pattern here. Probably should use a bigger flask, but we're going to go with the small one. And what you want to do on patterns is sprinkle a little baby powder or cornstarch, whatever you have laying around. Sprinkle it on there. Use a little woman's facial brush. And just give it a light dusting. to keep the sand from sticking to it. Then start putting in your sand. And to keep the sand from sticking together, you go ahead and dust this side too. Should be good. Okay, well, let's see how our mold turned out here. And I drilled 2 holes in the back of this pattern to assist in getting this thing out. And let me grab a screwdriver right quick. Well, the edges aren't as clean as I'd like, but the image turned out really nice, and I knew I was going to have a problem with the outside of that circle. So let me flip this over and see exactly what we've got here. Nice. So we're going to go ahead and cast this thing up. I've got the flask back together and I've got my locking pins in. So we're pretty much ready to go, but I think I'm going to make an extended riser for this guy here, because there's a lot of aluminum going to go in this thing. So let me grab this guy. Well, I forgot to get video of it, but yes, I did put in the gating system in case anybody caught that. I just forgot to film it. Okay, I've got the crucible loaded up with some aluminum, probably more than I need, but better to have too much than too little. And I'm going to go ahead and fire it up, wind permitting. It's still windy down here. Well, I had to cut the melt short because I don't know if you guys could see it, but the crucible developed 2 holes in the bottom, and all my aluminum was going right down the drain that I built into this for just such an emergency. And it's all piling up on underneath the furnace in the sand. So I'm going to go cut me a new crucible. These things happen, so I'm not worried about it. I knew maybe I'd get one more out of it, but didn't even get one more. So I'll be back in a bit. Sand casting dilemma. Well, alrighty then. All ready to go with a brand new crucible. And this one has to have the paint burn off, so I'll bring you guys back when I'm ready to pour. Okay, we've got a pot full of liquid metal, so let's pour this sucker. Little too much aluminum. Okay, well, let's find out if Santa had brought us an aluminum plaque or if the Grinch showed up. So let's open this guy. And let's see what we got. And it's pretty hot. Turned out pretty nice though. Here's the original. Picked up some good detail on it. So now just go ahead and lop off these two sprues, clean up the edges a little bit, and I think it'll look pretty nice. Well, after removing the sprues and the excess material from around the edges of the casting and cleaning up the bevels, it was time to get to sanding. So I went from 120 to 220 to 400 to 800, then skipped all the way up to 2000 grit. And it really started looking good after the 800 grit. So I couldn't be more pleased with the casting and the way it's turning out. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and anodize this thing in two different colors, the base or the background of the plaque in one color and then the circular area in another. And I did find the original wording that was on it. It had fell down behind a dresser, and I'm going to go ahead and have this engraved with the original words. So I appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe to my channel, give me a like or thumbs up, and I will talk to you guys later.